Nonprofits exist to meet a mission. Each one has a unique mission. It may be about helping children or seniors, or helping to feed people, or helping people to get on their feet economically, whatever. There's such a range of public purposes and important community missions. But together, they all are about building the community and strengthening the community so we can have a healthy, thriving community for everyone. We're teaching skills for life. These nonprofits come in and it's a relatively short period of time that they're with us, but they are building relationships, skills, and resources to serve the community for a lifetime. So it's the relationships they build with each other, the relationships they build with us, because we do everything we can to promote them and market them once they're in our sphere. And it's about the relationships that they can build with funders through our program as well. The idea here with the Nonprofit Academy is to help them be the very best that they can be, to help them to meet their missions. They're struggling many times to have the resources they need. They might need some help in how to market or how to develop programs. Whatever it is, our intention is to make sure that they can do the best possible job to achieve their mission, and together all of these missions will grow our community.
So, having a donor community avoids the over-reliance on a single source of funding, right? So a lot of times when our organizations are founded, and raise your hand if you fall into this category, you have one or two large individuals, corporations, faith institutions taking care of all of your revenue that you need, right? You got one or two funders who are taking care of all of it, and that's how you start. That's all right. You start as a volunteer. You start with one or two big gifts. There's nothing wrong with that. But building a donor community gets you out of that. I mean, if you had the perfect pie chart, no one revenue source should be more than 10%. So having a donor community increases your donor visibility, and by increasing your visibility, it builds your reputation in the community. It isn't just you out there marching forward with a few volunteers and maybe a few staff people, that this community builds reputation, builds legitimacy for who you are. The stronger the nonprofit sector is, the less reliant we all are on government resources, and we know those are becoming more and more constrictive. And so the commissioner understands the importance of bringing everyone together so that they can build stronger nonprofit communities, which is the infrastructure for which we serve our population. And the clients in our community that need the help from the nonprofit sector are really benefiting from and the expertise of the community coming forward to teach these classes.
What is my plan for the year? What are you doing? We're doing 4 fundraising events, we're doing 3, I have 4 schools, what dates are my payroll, when does my insurance renew, am I adding a property? So you kind of have to have all of this laid out before you sit down to do the budget. So I really think it's a team effort, first of all. Second of all, is you have to gather all of the information, right? A budget is not something that you just rush through. Hey, I got to put together a budget and it's due next month, and it's something that really you should start before year end. You have to look at how you did prior year. You have to look at what sources of funding are available. You have to have a staffing plan. Nonprofits, your biggest cost is staffing. What is your plan? Who do you have? How are they funded? What are your program goals, right? So how am I, the finance person, just going to set a budget when you're saying, you know what, Roxanne, we're not going to go out into the schools this year, or we're planning to have 7 schools instead of 5 schools.
Just being able to work with these small organizations and help answer some of their questions and help point them in the right direction, I think is preparing them to be able to grow and help them set the infrastructure that they need to be successful.
My goal is to help you all develop some internal capacity to collect and utilize data, AKA information, to tell your story, help you improve your programs for accountability purposes. You can collect the data that you need to tell a compelling, incredible story if you then tap into the literature. One of the things I do is really try to show them how easy it is that they themselves, they don't need to hire expertise, they can actually collect their own data and use it to tell their own story. So it's kind of a do-it-yourself approach, which I think makes a lot of executives feel more comfortable.
My goal is that everybody here would leave this room, or every organization would leave this room with at least one actionable strategy that they think they can commit to trying to make a reality in 2018. That's the goal, is to get you there. Okay. But if you can be that young, maybe smaller organization that demonstrates some very concrete ways that a board is there and it's active and it's supportive, that tends to be really impressive to people.
I have a friend, she's an elder now, she's Chinese American, and when she talks about civic engagement and community mobilization, she always says you have to have your mom with you. And so when she talks about mom, those letters stand for mission, right? There has to be a mission or something that people really feel attached to. There has to be organization, so that's what we're going to be talking about tonight, about how you get people engaged by mobilizing them. And you have to have money, right? And so today the focus is going to be on the old part and how you can really effectively do the organizing part around a mission, and hopefully through that then you can also galvanize all the resources you need, including money. And we see ourselves as someone who is civically engaged, right? But part of the challenge is also how do you mobilize other people to also want to take action, right? And we're going to talk about that this evening, right? Because it's one thing to have an idea of something that we want to change. It's another thing to figure out how we do it so we're not bearing all the work on a few people or just one organization trying to do it. Like, how do you actually mobilize power to get something done?
I think it was really, really important for nonprofit leaders to be reminded and remember that the power is with the people. And the degree to which you believe that and put resources and time into organizing people around what matters most to them, it makes your work so much easier.
It's really powerful to share your story, and the reason why is because that's how humans have always communicated. We communicate and we educate and we teach through story. And yet I find it so surprising how few nonprofits who have such amazing stories to tell, both for why they are working at those nonprofits and for the people they help, how much opportunity you have to take better advantage of those incredible stories of the people that you help. You want to motivate and inspire through a sense that there is a problem to be solved and that you can be a part of that solution. You need to understand why your staff works for you. You need to understand what their personal motivation and connection to your mission is. You must go and you must find that out. When you see someone who's personally moved, who goes through a session and learns something about their motivation, about the why that they're doing this, that's so deep and so profound, it just makes the whole thing worth it.
We want to make sure that the Nonprofit Academy graduates leave with more knowledge, with information about resources that they can use to serve the community and meet their mission, and that they establish a great network with all of the others, because again, together we're stronger, and none of us can solve all of the problems. We have to work collectively. And ultimately, we're looking for them to stabilize and to grow.
The Nonprofit Academy is important because we can't stay stagnant. This industry, this world is changing dramatically. We have to be the cutting edge because we impact a lot of people, and we have to make sure that we know what they know or more.
We don't have a lot of capacity. We don't have a lot of employees. We mainly work with volunteers, or we're doing it ourselves. So by having us all come together as a group, we learn from each other, and then we learn from the speakers themselves. Something that we couldn't do on our own, we couldn't afford, and we wouldn't have the ability to go out and find them.
So the Nonprofit Academy is important to nonprofits in general, no matter what kind of nonprofit you are, is proper business practices, is understanding to be as effective as you possibly can for the cause that you represent.
So the Nonprofit Academy has really opened up my eyes to the tremendous opportunities that we have as nonprofits to do fundraising. Sustainability is one of the biggest challenges for a nonprofit, and because of the Nonprofit Academy, I've learned different ways of raising money for Mujer.
The Nonprofit Academy is important because it invests in small organizations like us that are too small to really qualify for bigger grants sometimes because we're little fish swimming with the big fish.
It's brought together South Date's champions in regards to nonprofits that are really meeting the needs of our community's most vulnerable people.
It gives organizations the power and the knowledge to create sustainable funding sources, as well as increase their reach across Dade County.
The Nonprofit Academy is important because leaders like Danielle Levine-Cava have these great ideas, but they can't always be implemented by one person. Sometimes you need to spread it out, and we all know our network and we know our clients, and so we have the tools to really implement those things, and so broad impact.
The Nonprofit Academy is probably one of the greatest tools that any nonprofit organization could get involved in. You have a tendency to think you know everything, that you know exactly where you need to go and what you need to do. Come to this academy and you'll find out you don't know a lot.
The Nonprofit Academy just opens the doors for people. We're all aware of each other's goals and missions, and we now have a connectiveness to be able to help each other.
Our motto at Community Connection is Together We Can. So that has been the motto in this whole academy. Together we are achieving, and we will continue to achieve.
So District 8's Nonprofit Academy has made an enormous difference in the life of Bridge to Hope. Having the tools to do what we do better means that we can serve more clients, serve them more efficiently, and ultimately have a greater impact in the community. So as a nonprofit leader, I have experienced a tremendous amount of growth, and we've already seen it take us to the next level.
We're so grateful that JP Morgan Chase chose to invest in us for this great program through our fiscal sponsor, the South Florida Community Development Coalition. Together, we are really making a difference, and it means so much that they recognize the value of this program. It buoys us to know that this is an organization that really cares about the community. They're really looking for the best of the best. They're doing a lot to invest in the nonprofit sector, and that we're a part of their programming and philanthropy.